The crack of bat meeting ball rang out through the empty stadium as 12-year-old Tim swung with all his might. He watched the ball soar high before falling just short of the outfield wall. "Good swing, but you need to adjust your hips more to really drive through the ball," called out his dad, Mark, from the nearby dugout. Tim nodded, gritting his teeth in determination as he readied for the next pitch from the pitching machine. His dad was working him hard today, rounds of batting practice followed by drills covering ground balls, catching pop flies, and stealing bases. As Tim panted from exertion, Mark checked his watch. "Let's take a quick water break," he said, noting the sweat dripping from his son's red face. They plopped down on the bench in the dugout, gulping water from their bottles. "Phew, you've got me working extra hard today, Dad," panted Tim. "But I know it will help me get better." Mark smiled proudly and clapped a hand on his son's shoulder. "Too many kids your age expect instant success without effort. But remember what I always say." Tim nodded, reciting the familiar refrain. "You have to work very hard to meet good luck." "That's right," replied Mark. "I learned that important lesson from my own dad, back when I was struggling in Little League just like you." Mark gazed nostalgically out at the baseball diamond, memories washing over him. "When I was 12, all I wanted was to be a star pitcher one day. But I struggled just to get the ball over the plate without walking every other batter." Tim chuckled. "I guess you've gotten a little better since then." Mark laughed. "Only after years of hard work. My dad spent hours out here with me practicing. When I complained it was too hard, he'd remind me that success doesn't come easy. You have to diligently work to create your own luck." Mark looked at his son, eyes serious. "The players who make it seem lucky, but they've worked tirelessly for years cultivating their talent. My dad's lesson drove that truth home for me. I eventually did become a star player, but only through endless practice and perseverance." He squeezed Tim's shoulder. "The same will happen for you, son. You have natural talent and the right attitude. Keep working hard, and the results will come." Tim nodded, brows furrowed as he contemplated his dad's guidance. After a few moments of introspection, he met Mark's eyes. "Thanks, Dad, I really needed to hear that today. With tryouts coming up, I've been frustrated about not improving fast enough. But now I see I just have to keep at it." Mark's heart swelled with pride at his son's maturity. "You've got it, kiddo. Consistent hard work compounds over time. Stay patient and keep grinding, your luck will come." They shared a smile before Mark glanced at his watch again. "Okay, break's over, time to get back at it. Let's see you run those bases like you're stealing home to win the championship game." With renewed motivation, Tim sprang up and raced back onto the field. As Mark watched his son train, he thought back fondly on those days with his own father, the life lessons subtly imparted amidst batting practice and pickup games. Mark had never imagined back then that he'd one day get to pass down that same hard-earned wisdom to his own child. Yet here he was, coaching Tim through drills while also trying to instill values like diligence, patience, and perseverance. The years would fly by too fast, Mark knew. Someday Tim would be the father passing these lessons down to his own kids. But for now, Mark was grateful for these long summer days together out on the ball field, not just building baseball skills, but forging the foundations of character and resilience. As Tim's impressive hits cracked off the bat in rapid succession, Mark nodded approvingly. The consistent effort was paying off, Tim's swing was tighter, his power increased. Watching his son improve through sheer grit filled Mark with deep pride. When they finally gathered their gear to head home, weary but accomplished after the long training session, Mark wrapped an arm around Tim's shoulders. "Great work today, kiddo, I really saw the improvement. Remember what I said about luck?" "I know, Dad," replied Tim with a tired grin. "Keep working my butt off and eventually good things will happen." Mark chuckled and pulled his son in for a quick hug. The stadium lights shut off row by row until just their connected forms remained illuminated in the creeping dusk. In that moment, Mark hoped the brief glow would help sear his message permanently into Tim's mind and heart. Dreams require diligence, and through sustained effort, a boy could cultivate the skills to turn talent into true success. Practice, patience and persistence would carry Tim far, as long as he relied on the wisdom his father had once learned on this same stretch of dust and grass.